Hello and welcome to Sports News Africa, the home of Africa's sporting conversation. Let's take a look at the headlines. Yaya Toure makes it onto the 23-man Ballon d'Or shortlist, but is out of the cup. Ghana's youngsters have been disqualified by CAF and will be replaced by Cameroon. And we'll look back at one of the greatest sporting moments 40 years on. Now, despite making the 23-man shortlist for the 2014 Ballon d'Or, Yaya Toure continues to receive unfavourable reviews on Twitter and in the press for his contribution to Manchester City this season. His problems were not alleviated ahead of this weekend's Manchester derby, when his side lost 2-0 to a resurgent Newcastle United in the English League Cup. This follows up with his struggles in converting an impressive title-winning season with his club into a strong showing at the World Cup. Toure is perhaps not holding out to win the Ballon d'Or, former Liberian captain George Weah being the only African player to do so, with Samuel Eto'o finishing third. Now, Ghana has been disqualified by the Confederation of African Football from taking part in the 2015 Under-17 Championships after it was alleged that the Black Starlets fielded an ineligible player. The decision by CAF to disqualify Ghana has been met by sharp criticism from country's FA officials and fans alike. Cameroon, on the other hand, will welcome Ghana's disqualification, which means they will now replace the Black Starlets in the competition.
The disqualification of Ghana's starlets from the Under-17 Africa Championships has come as a huge blow to the West Africans, who are looking to win the regional competition and restore some pride to the nation as its senior team, the Black Stars, struggles to find form in the Africa Cup of Nations competition. But for West Africa rivals Cameroon, the disqualification is very much about justice being served after the country presented the complaint to the Confederation of African Football. Ghana were found guilty of fielding 2 overage players during the final qualifying match against Cameroon. But the story may not be over for Ghana just yet.
Bien oui, on va pas. Le football c'est sur le terrain, comme on dit en anglais, dans faut fil. Chez nous ici au Cameroun. Donc.
Football is played on the pitch, as we say here in Cameroon, ndaba na for field. For the match against Ghana, Cameroon has expressed some reservations since we lost against a side including 2 or 3 players looking really senior. After examining the case, the Confederation judged Cameroon's claims were right. But it's not over. You can't say that Ghana is disqualified yet. After this decision by the Confederation, Ghana will probably appeal to reverse it. So Cameroon is on standby, just waiting Ghana's appeal to get the final ruling.
On attend le recours du Ghana pour voir la décision finale.
His assistant, David Ngomshu, feels that for a team to contest for such a high-profile event is no easy feat and takes a lot of preparation for the team.
Sachant qu'ils sont déjà qualifiés et qu'on le dise à quelques jours.
To be qualified and to be told after a couple of days that you're disqualified is not an easy feeling to cope with. As for me, I wish the Confederation would have confirmed the domination of a side on the pitch and had in the past years punished sides having line senior players in the competition.
Foko said the practice of fielding overage players is a fraud that is becoming rampant in Africa and is destroying morality of players and of the game in general.
Un jeune de 17 ans camerounais ne peut pas rivaliser sur le plan du jeu, sur le plan.
A 17-year-old Cameroonian cannot rival a 17-year-old European, be it for the game or for the body shape. I think this is the reason why there are guys cheating on their ages. But there's a real need for us to dig deep to check out why in Africa we cheat on our players' ages.
Pourquoi en Afrique nous trichons sur les âges?
Ghana have won the championships twice in 1995 and 1999 and were favourites in the competition, while Cameroon has won the title once in 2003.
Welcome back to Sports News Africa. South Africa held a memorial service on Thursday for 3 of the country's sporting figures who all passed away within 3 days of each other. The country first learned about the death of Olympic silver medalist Mbuleni Malautsi, who died in a road accident. That was followed by news that Bafana Bafana captain and goalkeeper Senzo Meyiwa had been murdered by robbers at his girlfriend's house. Less than 24 hours later, Female professional boxer Pendile Molasse passed away after being in a coma for 2 weeks. And it is about Molasse's death and the state of boxing in the country that we now talk to Dr. Peter Ngatane, President of the Commonwealth Boxing Council and the Medical Director of Boxing South Africa. Dr. Ngatane, what is Boxing South Africa's reaction to Pendile Molasse's passing?
Well, the South African reaction is very sad, especially since female boxing is in infancy here in South Africa. So there's quite a sadness around the passing away of Pendile. But be it as may, the public and people will not be, there's not been any call for banning of the sport or the people not getting involved in the sport. So it is quite a painful situation because it just came in within, this weekend. We just had 3 people dying in 3 different sports. We had a soccer captain who was shot, and we have the lady who passed away boxing, and then we have our marathon Olympic champion who was involved in an accident over this weekend, just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we had all those problems. So the mood in South Africa is not very good in terms of the sadness around our sporting heroes.
Okay, now, at moments like this, there are usually calls for changes in the rules or more protection. But is that actually happening in South Africa?
Well, our rules are very good in terms of protection of the boxers and the protection of the sports people, because as part of our regular activities in boxing, we do have 2 doctors present at the venue, and we have paramedics with a full ICU type of activity that we present in all tournaments. And there's always an arrangement with the hospital to take care of the patient in the nearest hospital with the availability of a neurosurgeon. So our safety measures, which the promoters have to comply with, is very stringent in terms of them following the rules. So far, we haven't had any cause for the change of the rules. After the investigations that we will be doing after this incident, we will see if there's any places within our regulations that we can tighten up if there's a need to do so to prevent any further challenges to the situation.
Okay, now, how big a setback is this incident for women's boxing in your country?
It's not a very bad setback. It is a setback, but not very bad. As I say, we haven't had any outcry for the banning of the sport. But in actual fact, we've had female politicians encouraging people not to be discouraged by this incident.
Okay, and finally, will there be a compensation package for boxers like her?
Well, there is a compensation package that is discussed as I'm speaking to you with the family from Boxing South Africa, because we do have insurance policy that we try and protect our boxers with, even though it's not a huge amount, but there is a policy that we have. So at this point in time, there is a discussion that's happening with the family in terms of the payment from the compensation.
Okay, Dr. Peter Ngatane, thank you for speaking to Sports News Africa. Now, it was the first ever world heavyweight title fight to be staged in Africa. 2 of the world's greatest boxers, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, stepped into the ring in Kinshasa, Zaire, for a rumble in the jungle, and the rest, as they say, is history.
40 years ago, this stadium was packed to capacity. A night vigil had kept the city of Kinshasa alive as thousands gathered to watch a boxing match that had brought 2 boxing legends, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, both African Americans, to fight on African soil. The event, dubbed Rumble in the Jungle, was a hallmark boxing event for the country and was used by then-President Mobutu Sese Seko to market the country internationally. Some of those who witnessed the 1974 bout still hold on to photos and posters of the world-class event. Felix Mputu, a former boxer and referee, remembers that the fight was a turning point for his career.
For a man, sa façon de boxer, donc il boxe comme je peux qualifier.
That was the match of the century. It boosted me, especially the referee Zachary Clinton, whose job on the ring uplifted my career as referee, since I had already given up boxing and just started being a referee in 1974 at the time of the Ali Foreman fight.
Il va partir du premier round jusqu'au deuxième round pour voir le spectacle parce que vous avez payé votre billet.
Foka Balambuyi, a veteran journalist who was also a member of the organizing committee, reminisced on how important the fight was for the country.
This
fight was an event organized for exposure, an opportunity to grab the media's attention, some kind of political marketing. The country had to be recognized throughout the world as Zaire.
Comme Zaire.
Christopher Ndombe was the boxer who curtain raced before Foreman and Ali met on the ring, an honor that still lingers in his mind. He still recalls that the fight between Ali and Foreman was a starting point for boxing in the country.
Les boxeurs ne savaient pas où aller.
At the time, boxers had nowhere to go. Then we learned about professional boxing and about the world champion out of its ranks. So Congo took advantage of it to send its young boxers abroad, and they came out as world champion and champion of Africa. All this thanks to the Ali Foreman fight.
Boxing became far more popular as a sport in the country after that historic match.
Boxing in the DRC has been going through a lot of progress. At the time, from a technical point of view, boxers weren't very skilled. Today, new techniques have emerged. 4 strikes, 6 strikes, and you get the points.
The Ali Foreman fight came to be known across the globe as one of the greatest sporting events in history. In the run-up to the event, a 3-night-long music festival dubbed Zaire 74 was held to promote the boxing match. James Brown, Miriam Makeba, the Spinners, Bill Withers, the Crusaders and Manu Dibango were just some of the famous artists who entertained the crowds that night.
Welcome back to Sports News Africa. The family and friends of a Kenyan cyclist who died in the Philippines after a collision during the tour of Matambugke converged at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to receive his body. John Njoroge Muya was one of Kenya's most respected cyclists after having won several medals and regional championships. At the time of his death, Njoroge was in position 2 of the race in the Philippines.
Grieving relatives, friends and fans of Kenyan cyclist John Muya Njoroge gathered at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi on Wednesday to receive his body after he was killed in a head-on collision with a car during the tour of Matambugke in the Philippines. 30-year-old Kenyan national champion and 2012 Tour de Rwanda bronze medalist succumbed to his injuries while undergoing treatment in hospital. The day before his death, Njoroge had won the 10-kilometer time trial and carried the yellow jersey in an international tour for the first time in his cycling career. Family members could barely hold back their tears.
John alikuwa kama tegemeo yangu sababu wakati alikuwa nyumbani.
John was my hope when he was at home. He used to help me milk my cows. He used to help me sell the milk, and he was very resourceful in the farm. He was a good son. I loved him so much.
Alikuwa mtoto mzuri kwangu. Nilikuwa ninampenda kweli.
We are very sad because he was our last born, and we did do love him very much, and we don't know what to do, but that was the will of God. And now we are just ready to take him to go and let him at home.
Members of the Kenyan national cycling team eulogized Njoroge, saying the country has lost one of its best cyclists who would be hard to replace.
Yeah, I think his best performance with the team was probably actually just before he passed away, when he stepped into the yellow jersey, so he was winning this race over in the Philippines. And then before that, I would say it would be the Tour of Rwanda 2012, where he took the bronze medal in that race, or third place.
It's hard to explain the colleagues, because each and every rider now are down. Everything is down. It's like everyone's mood is not okay. So we have lost a guy that we have been doing so much things with, and it's a big gap that he has left.
Njoroge leaves behind a wife and a son. His remains will be interred on Thursday at the family home in Kinangop town, some 100 kilometers from the capital, Nairobi.
And that is the end of Sports News Africa for today. Join us again tomorrow when we bring you all the latest from Africa and around the world. Goodbye for now.